Hi there, this is David, and welcome to my impressions and review of Redemption Reapers, released for the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and PC. Before we begin, I would like to thank Binary Haze Interactive for a free copy for review. Strategy RPGs really do seem to be in vogue these days. Everyone and their mother is coming out with them now. And while this game did seem to kind of come out of nowhere, it also did have a lot of pedigree behind it. Most notably from the director of Fire Emblem himself. He is leading the charge. So I really had some high hopes for it. I mean, I even said that it might possibly be a hidden gem back in my February RPG Buyer's Guide video. But, unfortunately, after getting my hands on it, I just think that it needs to stay hidden. At its core, Redemption Reapers answers the question of what happens whenever you have an extremely old-school Fire Emblem meet something like The Walking Dead. That's probably the best way that I can explain the story. The world is in shambles. There are refugees everywhere as the Mort, essentially ogres, orcs, and trolls, roam, pillage, and plunder the lands. So you play as Sarah, the leader of the Ashen Hawk Brigade, whose job it is to slaughter as many Mort as humanly possible. However, upon the opening of the game, she's been separated from her troops, and the first couple of chapters are just kind of gathering them up, while at the same time fighting off all of the Mort. The whole of the brigade consists of 5 members. That's it. Sarah, the dagger-wielding evasion-type fighter, Glenn, your sword wielder, Louv, your spear fighter, Urs, your axe wielder, and Karen, the obligatory female archer. Battles take place in a Fire Emblem type format, and you also gain Fire Emblem type stats. And what I mean by that is, they're minuscule. If you ever see yourself getting even like 20 HP, then you know you're really high leveled. Every single battle involves you fighting against the Mort, which can get quite monotonous pretty quickly. And the key to victory is by moving all of your characters together and ganging up on each Mort to slaughter them, because that's really the only strategy that you're ever going to find here in the entire game. Gathering up and surrounding your enemies just works, and it's the only thing that works, because then your party members will be able to do follow-up attacks dealing more damage. So do not spread anybody out, keep everybody clumped up together, because if you send somebody out on like a little mission, that's a death sentence. He's dead, girl. The one nice feature here is that your characters can move, then kind of stop to pick up a relic or open up a treasure chest, then attack a monster, and then finish up their movement. But you'd better enjoy that one little gift from the developers, because everything else is 100% stacked up against you. There is no difficulty selector. You can't grind. Your weapons break constantly. You have access to very limited healing capabilities. Money is extraordinarily hard to come by. Everything from the shop is damned expensive. And while there's like 5 of you, there could be up to like 30 different morphs that you need to deal with each battle. And if you make one wrong move, you're completely screwed. It's time to start the entire battle over with. There's no rewind or takesies backsies here. Make a single mistake in an hour-long battle? Oh well, screw you. Better start over and redo that entire hour. Hope you have a lifetime of that on your hands. I think that the most egregious oversight is that there is no magic user among your ragtag group of mercenaries. There's no one there to blast from afar or to support you from the rear. These are your 5 guys, and they're locked into your 5 job classes, and you just have to deal with it. Remember those old school Fire Emblem games? No, I'm not talking about the Game Boy Advance ones. You gotta look back. I'm an old bitch, and I'm talking about the ones on the NES and the SNES. Think about those for a minute, then you might know how this game really plays. Remember always having your back up against the wall and just being scared shitless of dying? And worse yet, there not really being anything that you could do about it? Well, that's the entire game. Every single battle is a fight to the death, and you always feel at such a complete disadvantage, and there's nothing that you can do about it at all. You can't grind. You can't buy new and expensive equipment because you barely have any money at all, and what little pittance of money that you do have needs to be spent on repairing the weapons that you have because they're constantly breaking. Maybe another apt comparison would be that fight at Georgia Trade City over in Final Fantasy Tactics. Imagine that you had to go through that fight and that horrible battle without being able to buy a single new piece of equipment, without being able to grind at all, and without being able to change any of your job classes, only being stuck with squires and chemists. That's how I felt here in every single battle. I felt so neutered, so powerless, so defeated. It just isn't fun. Each time that you gain a level, you are able to upgrade your skills, but it's always just by like the tiniest amount. I was more frustrated by the skill tree than by anything else. To its credit, there is no permadeath, but if a unit dies, then they're not getting any experience, and if a unit doesn't attack enough, they're also not getting experience. And, you might as well just kiss them goodbye forever if they miss out on a significant portion of a battle, because they're just going to get one shot the next battle, then one shot the next. They're going to be permanently behind the rest of your team, and they're just going to be screwed. Yes, there is party experience that you can use to help bridge that gap, but it's really such a paltry amount, and it won't do much to help bring them back up to par because of the way that that party experience is calculated. If somebody dies, you're going to get less, and if you take too long in the battle, you're going to get less. So the weaker that you are, the more the game punishes you by keeping you down and not giving out that party experience. So instead of it being as a way to kind of lift you up out of being beaten down, instead the game decides to keep on kicking you when you're down, and there's just no way to catch up once you're behind. There are quite a few battles where you're told to ignore the monsters and just go after the leader. But I caution you, do not do this. Because if you do, then you're going to miss out on treasure, and more importantly, that ever important combat experience. And if you're even slightly underleveled, then the next battle is just going to be completely 100% impossible. And again, there's nothing that you can do about it. It's like fighting against a brick wall. With such limited healing, how the game expects you to fight off 30 plus enemies and then a super boss at the end without anybody dying is really beyond me. The entire game was just such an exercise in frustration, as this is a strategy RPG where you really can't utilize any sort of strategy. There's no magic, there's no controlling the field, there's no true healing, there's nothing like that. So the only strategy that you're ever really going to be doing is again, just grouping up all of your characters together, then having them smash your opponents one by one, rinse and repeat. The storyline isn't all that thrilling either, because you never really get to learn about your characters. They just join up with Sarah and then they'll shuffle to the background before you're sent off on yet another mission to destroy the Morts. No one gets any kind of character development, and instead the story's just, go here, fight this den of monsters. Okay, you're done. Go here, fight this next den of monsters. Keep doing this for about 20 hours, then you're done. There's really no redemption for how terrible this hotly anticipated game turned out to be. So, that's it for my review of Redemption Reapers. What did you think about the game? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and what I do on the channel, please consider following me over on Twitter, supporting me on Patreon for exclusive videos and early access to my content, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or coming on over to my Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the video description. This has been David, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.